Steering the ship, how good governance drives performance. The critical role of governance in startup. In today's fast-paced business world, corporate governance plays a pivotal role in ensuring the long-term sustainability and success of any organization. It is crucial that startups prioritize corporate governance and financial management from the grassroots level and not treat it as an afterthought. Good governance is sacrosanct. It is no longer an option. Much like justice, not only must governance be done, it must be seen to be done. Startups are pivotal in contributing to the emerging Indian economy and have the potential to create a significant impact on a global scale. As India aspires to become a global economic powerhouse, it is imperative that startups in India create new benchmarks in corporate governance, not only for India, but also for other nations. By doing so, startups can set an example for the rest of the world and inspire other organizations to follow suit. ESG and its implementation. Countries are steadily moving towards inculcating ESG or environmental, social and governance norms into their regulatory frameworks by amending or enacting legislation to include ESG regulations, which require further compliance. Lately, there has been a growing interest in the intersection between startups and ESG. Startups, known for their agility and innovation, are increasingly being seen as a key driver of sustainable development, and ESG has emerged as a framework for measuring the impact of businesses beyond their financial performance. By integrating ESG considerations into their operations, startups can not only contribute to creating a more sustainable future, but also attract investors and customers who prioritize socially responsible practices. Governance should be woven into the fabric of a company, not just something that is stacked on at the end. This means that companies need to integrate it into its investment and governance documents from the start. Good governance can play a vital role in addressing oft-seen issues in startups in the Indian context. Startups in India have been facing challenges related to governance due to the lack of proper regulatory frameworks, weak institutional mechanisms, and inadequate disclosure norms. Good governance practices can help startups mitigate those challenges and build a culture of transparency, accountability, honesty, and responsibility. The four pillars of corporate governance for building a strong corporate culture and establishing trust with stakeholders. Why build strong foundations? Let's delve into the critical need for governance in startups and explore how it contributes to their success. Defining governance in startups. Governance in startups refers to the set of processes, policies, and structures that guide decision making, ensure accountability, and establish a framework for responsible management. It encompasses various aspects such as strategic planning, risk management, financial controls, ethical practices, and compliance. While startups are often characterized by a more flexible and agile culture, effective governance provides the necessary structure to navigate challenges and capitalize on opportunities. 2. Establishing direction and strategy. One of the primary reasons startups need governance is to set a clear direction and strategy. Without a well-defined vision and roadmap, startups can easily lose focus and deviate from their core objective. Governance mechanisms such as a board of directors or an advisory board play a crucial role in providing strategic guidance, ensuring alignment between stakeholders and fostering a culture of goal-oriented decision-making. A strong governance framework helps startups identify their target markets, define competitive advantage, and make informed choices to drive growth. Ensuring accountability and transparency. Accountability and transparency are vital components of a well-governed startup. Stakeholders, including investors, employees, customers, and partners, need assurance that the company is managed ethically and responsibly. Implementing governance mechanisms such as regular financial reporting, internal controls, and compliance frameworks enhances transparency and builds trust. By establishing accountability, startups can attract funding, retain talent, and forge long-lasting relationships with key stakeholders. 4. Mitigating risks and enhancing resilience. Startups operate in a high-risk environment where uncertainty and volatility are constants. Effective governance helps identify and mitigate risks, protecting the company from potential pitfalls. By implementing risk management frameworks, startups can anticipate challenges, develop contingency plans, and respond swiftly to market disruptions. Robust governance structures enable startups to adapt to changing circumstances, enhancing their resilience and ensuring continuity during challenging times. 5. Attracting and retaining talent. Startups rely heavily on the skills and experience of their teams to execute their vision. However, talented professionals seek organizations with strong governance practices. By establishing transparent and fair policies, startups can attract top-tier talent and foster a culture of accountability. Governance frameworks also provide a sense of stability and clear career progression, increasing employee satisfaction and retention rates. Effective governance demonstrates the startup's commitment to ethical practices, which is increasingly valued by potential employees. 6. Facilitating funding and investor confidence. Startups often require external funding to fuel their growth. Investors, be it venture capitals, angel investors, or institutional funds, evaluate startups based on their potential returns and the level of risk involved. A robust governance structure demonstrates to investors that the startup is managed professionally with clear decision-making processes and accountable leadership. Investors are more likely to trust startups with strong governance, leading to increased access to capital and improved investor confidence. By embracing governance principles, startups can build strong foundations that set them up for long-term success, creating a sustainable and resilient path towards achieving their goals. The recommended governance framework for startups is designed to establish a culture of accountability, transparency, and ethical behavior at all levels of startups, thus enabling a self-regulating world-class setup ecosystem. It is a comprehensive guide that provides a clear and practical approach to establishing effective governance practices within a startup for the benefit of the startup and its founders. While frameworks are merely frameworks, the novel idea in this particular framework is the categorization of hundreds of startup compliance requirements based on the maturity level, being level 1, level 2, and level 3 of the startup. The framework will help startup founders and entrepreneurs create a solid foundation for their businesses by establishing structures and processes that will support their growth and success. The framework emphasizes the importance of transparency and accountability and provides guidance on how to establish effective communication channels between stakeholders, including board members, investors, and employees. It also highlights the need for startups to establish a culture of compliance by identifying and managing risks and complying with regulatory requirements. Framework is based on extensive research and consultation with experts in the field and is designed to be flexible and scalable to accommodate the unique needs of each startup across various industries. It's intended to be a living document that can and will be updated and refined as business evolves. The framework recognizes the need for startups at different levels of maturity with appropriate levels of corporate governance, which the startup is recommended to comply with or explain its absence. Corporate governance acts as a knight in shining armor, rescuing all stakeholders of a company at all stages during and after fundraising. As the saying goes, right begets right and wrong begets wrong. Following the sound principles of corporate governance could facilitate a startup to make sound investment decisions, establish best practices in the form of rights, duties, obligations, and liabilities, and move towards smooth functioning and growth. This framework is the first step of many in the right direction.